We've been covering the tragic story of a sexually abused 10-year-old Ohio girl who was carrying her rapist baby. The girl's story exploded into the national spotlight after the Indianapolis Star reported that the woman who performed the abortion said the girl had crossed state lines into Indiana to get an abortion. And President Biden exploited the story in a speech.
This isn't some imagined horror. It's already happening. Just last week it was reported that a 10-year-old girl was a rape victim in Ohio. 10 years old. And she was forced to have to travel out of the state to Indiana to seek to terminate the presidency and maybe save her life.
Yesterday, there was an arrest in the case when 27-year-old Gerson Fuentes, an illegal alien from Guatemala, was charged with child rape. But the media reported it this way.
Tonight, an Ohio man is under arrest, charged in the rape of a 10-year-old girl.
Now, a 27-year-old man is in custody, charged with raping a 10-year-old girl.
An Ohio man has been charged with raping a 10-year-old girl.
The entire media knew that Fuentes was an illegal immigrant, but chose to describe him as an Ohio man. Don't you think his immigration status is relevant? I do. He shouldn't have been in the country. And who knows how many other crimes he's been arrested for because he's been living in a sanctuary city. The Washington Post fact checker said you can't blame Biden for this mess since the illegal alien was here for 7 years. But who was in the White House 7 years ago? Oh, that was Barack Obama and Joe Biden. The media plays this game all the time. Last Christmas, after a black nationalist murdered 6 people at a Christmas parade in Wisconsin, CNN blamed the car for the massacre. It was not a self-driving car. The Ford Escape was not arrested for murder. And when Don Lemon follower Frank James shot up a subway car in Brooklyn, the media never reported the racist motivation for his attack. Isn't it interesting that the media spent an entire year attacking Donald Trump for saying this?
They're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems. And they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
And then when someone illegally crosses into our country and rapes someone, they have nothing to say. And the fact that this accused rapist was an illegal raises even more questions. After Fuentes was arraigned, Spanish language network Telemundo tracked down the girl's mom to find out what actually happened. Watch this.
La niña vivía aquí también.
Sí, pero ella está bien. Todo lo que están diciendo en contra de él es mentira.
Ya. ¿Y la niña, usted es familiar de la niña?
Es mi hija.
La señora, quien se negó a dar su nombre y quien ocultó su rostro, asegura que ella no ha impuesto cargos en contra de Gerson Fuentes, de 27 años, quien está acusado de violación.
So the mom's saying she didn't file charges, and it never happened, and that her daughter is fine. So the question is, do they have the right guy, or is the mother covering it up? And what's her immigration status? That we don't know. What also doesn't make any sense is, why is this 10-year-old girl, why did she even cross state lines for an abortion? When Ohio could have legally terminated the pregnancy due to a medical exception. She wasn't forced. She didn't ever need to go to Indiana. Why does this story keep changing? And why doesn't it make any sense? And why are all these details trickling in the more and more we dig? Ari Fleischer is a former White House press secretary and author of Suppression, Deception, Snobbery, and Bias. All right, Ari, I mean, you've seen this before in your day, the way these stories keep changing and things that are hidden from the headlines about the story. Is this ever going to change?
Jesse, this is what inspired me to write my book. I am so fed up with the hypocrisy of the media where they cover one thing for the left and the exact opposite thing for the right. Now, one example in my book is when Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Front page, banner headline, Washington Post, pioneer dedicated to equality. When Anthony Scalia died, that front page, banner headline was how he was a scourge of the left. This is the problem with the media. They cover the same event from a totally different lens depending on whether it's the team they want to win or the team they want to lose. That's not objective, it's not journalism.
The mainstream media often does not cover child rape. I've covered child rape for almost my entire career. We've covered crimes committed by illegal immigrants, rape committed by illegal immigrants. The media never touches any of that, but the one time a girl crosses state lines to have an abortion because she was raped by an illegal immigrant, they cover it. But they don't mention the fact he's an illegal immigrant. I mean, what is the agenda there, Ari?
The agenda is to allow people to come into America without having to come here legally. If you start pointing things out like this, it makes it a moral question. And that's why the press doesn't want to face up to the fact it's a moral issue that people should not be allowed in America unless they come here legally. If you commit a crime and you're an illegal immigrant, everybody should know it, because Jesse, you made the right point. He shouldn't have been in this country in the first place. This 10-year-old girl would never have been raped if we only were enforcing our laws at the border. Yet this is not an issue the media does want to cover. They cover it up. They don't cover it.
You're exactly right. She should never have been raped. She should never have been impregnated. She should never have had to get an abortion if we had a secure border. And that's what the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about. Securing the border would have prevented this horrible tragedy. It's unbelievable.
One of the reasons this keeps happening is, and I found this in my book, the press is so overwhelmingly Democrat, Jesse, and it's now no longer just conservative versus liberal. It's become cultural. The only group of Americans who say the press understands them are college-educated Democrats. If you're a Democrat with a high school degree, you don't think the press understands you. Independents, college, high school, press doesn't understand you. Republicans, of course, press doesn't understand you. So the media today is college-educated Democratic voters who tell stories that relate to the lives only of fellow college-educated Democratic voters.
And that snobbery is turning off a lot of Americans. All right, everybody go check out Ari Fleischer's book. Thanks for joining us on Primetime, Ari.
Thank you, Jesse.
4 Tesla drivers in Texas are being told to unplug their cars during peak hours because they're on the verge of sending Texas into a blackout. That's right. Chief breaking news correspondent Trace Gallagher has the details. Trace.
Hey, Jesse, whether because of ice storms in the winter or heat waves in the summer, we have learned the Texas power grid tends to be a bit unreliable. Not as unreliable as California, mind you, but a crapshoot nonetheless. And right now, much of Texas is getting hit with 100-plus degree temperatures, pushing demand for energy up while supply ticks down. So Tesla is now trying to ease the burden by once again giving owners an in-car alert, asking them not to charge the electric vehicles between the hours of 3 to 8 p.m. This is the second time in 2 months Tesla has used the warning in Texas. And of course, the reason the Texas power grid is so fragile is because the state is in the process of transferring to green energy. For example, in recent years, Texas has spent tens of billions of dollars trying to increase the capacity of wind energy. But right now, because of the heat, solar power is up, wind power is down. That's bad because the power grids rely on a consistent energy source, not variables. And when it comes to using renewable energy, there's no way to store the stuff. So it's either use it or lose it. The only way to fill the void and save the day is to use old-fashioned, dastardly evil, high-cost, low-volume fossil fuels. You know, the villains of the power grid. By the way, it doesn't help that the Texas grid is not readily connected to other state grids. So when it comes to powering things up, cooling things down, the Lone Star State pretty much on its own. Jesse.
All right. Thanks so much, Trace Gallagher.